The following program is a podcast1.com production.
You are listening to a special best of edition of the Laura Ingraham Show. Why settle for less when you can get the best?
Your healthy radio addiction starts now.
Power to the people!
The Laura Ingraham Show.
4, 3, 2, 1. At the barrel of a gun.
College students around Texas could soon be able to take their guns on campus. The state Senate gave final approval to a proposal that would allow it.
I think it's honestly a good idea for some students who have the qualifications. Just the feeling of having someone who knows what they're doing with a gun sitting next to me in case something was to happen. I feel more safe rather than just being completely in a classroom with no protection at all.
Well, I'll say it. God bless Texas. Well, you're a student. You're allowed to carry a weapon on your person, and you're a student. Like, these people are all pro-choice liberals until it comes to the Second Amendment. Or, as we've seen with this Obama proposal or dream, I'd say it's an Obama fantasy to have voting be mandatory in the United States. They don't want you to have a choice. You must vote. Talk about totalitarian. You had to vote in the old Soviet Union, too. You had to vote. You only had one choice, but you had to vote. No freedom, no real freedom, no liberty, no ability to defend yourself. Oh, the government will defend you. You're in a gun-free zone in this particular school, and then we have a Sandy Hook. They weren't able to stop Adam Lanza. He wreaks unspeakable carnage. One person with a firearm, trained to use it, could have taken him out real fast. Fortunately, we didn't have that at Sandy Hook Elementary. Didn't have that at Columbine. Didn't have that quickly enough when that freak tried to enter the U.S. Military base in southeast Washington. Remember that? He managed to make his way up the staircase. Remember that? He's like making his way into the building with a weapon, and finally he was taken down. But my goodness, it's just things take a little longer than they should, don't you think? But this is an interesting issue in Texas. Do you agree with this? It's called a campus carry bill, and it's gotten its final okay. And this happened early yesterday, passed by a vote of 20-11. And the vote was strictly along party lines. The bill allows concealed handgun license holders to carry guns into college classrooms and dorms. It only applies to public universities like UT, University of Texas. Oh, the people in Austin love this, right? The liberals, they hate this. And the University of Houston. Private universities like Rice, they could still ban guns on their campus. So the left wants to demonize these people until they need them. Until someone's busted through the classroom, and you think you're going to be protected by hiding under your desk. You'll be protected by one of those students who has a firearm, I can tell you that. At least you have a better chance. You don't have any chance otherwise. No chance at all.
So it's not the teachers with the firearms, it's the actual students.
No, this is universities. Yeah, these are over the age of 18.
Well, they're old. Yeah, they're old enough.
Yeah,
so it's not
so they're
like
over the
little
age
kids.
of 18. I mean, and I say a teacher who has the ability and the proper background in firearms, and maybe the teacher's not the right person, but I mean, someone in the school should have access to a firearm in order to stop this nonsense. I mean, I've always liked the fact that now some pilots are carrying weapons in the cockpit. Good. Hey, you don't fit the... If you bring that bag on, like Raymond tries to bring on this bag. He tries to carry a bag on when I travel with him. This bag is like a bag you would bring for 2 weeks of travel.
Oh, come on.
It's a roller bag that does not fit in most overhead compartments. But especially when you're in L.A., they're Nazis in L.A. At the TSA, they will not let Raymond go by with that bag. Darned it if he doesn't try it every time anyway. He tries to get that bag through. I've given him bags as gifts. including this year. The bag I
Yes.
gave you was a nice one, that Toomey bag. You'll get
It
that
is.
through. But Raymond likes the bag that will carry 3 pairs of shoes, the sneakers, the dress shoes.
No. It's a
huge
very
roller bag.
common little
Wardrobe
suit
bag.
bag.
I'm going to get Rebecca to take a picture of it. This thing.
It's a suit bag.
Yeah.
It's for suits.
Yeah, right. But it's a suit bag
Hanging
that
bag.
is a giant
It
bag.
is not
No,
a
Raymond,
giant bag.
Raymond, it does not fit in any of those things that say your bag has to fit
That's
here.
because the shrinkage of the baggage compartments.
Okay.
They've gotten smaller
They
and
have.
smaller
People
and
have
smaller,
gotten
like
bigger.
the seats.
The people have gotten bigger. The overhead compartments have
I'm
gotten
not giving up
smaller.
my bag.
You aren't giving up that bag. No, but you should see him. You should see him. It's the same conversation. I swear it's the same lady you talk to every time in L.A. The bag is it's too big.
No, it's fine. It
It's
fits
too
right in
big.
it fits right in the little thing over
No,
here.
it's too big.
No,
You
but
check
it's
the
fine.
bag. Check the bag.
No,
Bag
let
needs to
me
be-
show you. Look. Aha, look.
No,
See, it fits.
It doesn't. Raymond
It
tries
fits.
to take
I'll
stuff
put it
out
in that
of it.
little, that stainless steel.
No, he'll break the frame
thing
of the
they
bag
have.
just to get it into that little. It has to fit in this thing
The box.
compartment. No.
It is just under. It's just enough to fit. And I see the look on their faces when I jam it
annoyed.
in. They're like,
No. They're
well,
so
it's still
annoyed.
too big. I said, no, it's not.
I
It's
don't know why the
perfectly
LA
sized.
is
I'm
so
not giving
tough
up the
on
bag.
bags. No, he's not giving
Horrible
that bag up.
people.
Well, that's after I got my stuff
like
stolen
that.
out of my bag. Remember on the
Well,
Obama Diaries
let's
book
not
tour?
open up that sad
No, that
story.
was a bad.
No,
that
wait.
was
If it's a suit bag, why don't you just hang the suit up in the closet on the plane?
What closet? Are you back in the
what are you-
1970s?
what are you talking about?
There is no
This-
closet on the plane.
I
When's the
pass
last
a
time you traveled?
Every time I'm on Southwest, there's a closet I pass right in the
No,
front.
they don't let
Nah,
you.
rarely.
Go. That's
only
a
for
bus
first
in
class.
the air. No, they don't.
No,
they-
Southwest, you're lucky to get a peanut on Southwest.
Well, look, I'm not saying it's the most luxurious
Yeah.
flight in
No,
the world.
I,
but
at this point, I just buy an extra seat for one of the kids and let them hold the jacket. That's the only way to keep it from getting crushed in the overhead. That's too small,
It is
and people are jamming
I have to
stuff
say
in.
this. I mean, we're
You're giving
off,
up that bag, she
We're
said.
off topic a little bit because this is Friday, so I'm going total stream of consciousness. But this is why radio's fun. It is unreal how small seats have gotten. Now, I'm not a large person, and I was so cramped on my flight. And the flight attendants were very nice. It was a U.S. Air flight. I had to go down to South Florida a couple weeks ago. I took the photo and I put it on Twitter. Mike, did you see it? Mm-hmm. And I was jammed in this seat. And I'm looking at these giant people coming down the aisle. I mean, they're giant men whose one thigh is bigger than my entire waist. Okay.
Once you've had fat, you never go back.
Exactly. They're not going back, and they're not fitting in these seats. And then they think that they can. I mean, and look, I sat next to two very thin people, and both of them commented on, "Oh my gosh, something's happened with these seats." And the chair is right in front. The seat in front of you, it basically hits your knees. I'm small. I look at these people lumbering down the aisles like brontosauruses. These people are huge.
Get in my belly!
And I'm thinking, how are you going to even get through the flight, let alone get your posterior into this tiny seat without oozing into the next person's seat? And I actually feel sorry for a lot of these people because I guess a lot of them don't fly regularly. They don't know that it's this cramped. And people are saying they can't put down the armrest. So some man makes a big point 2 or 3 rows behind me saying, flight attendant, the armrest won't go down. The flight attendant walks over. She says to him, excuse me? She's been around for a while. She's been around the block a few times. She said, excuse me, sir, your armrest won't go down? Is it mechanically broken? He said, no, look. And it was that he was too big. She took that thing and she slammed that thing down. That thing went down. But it meant that he had to be wedged into his seat. And he didn't like it, so he wanted to leave it up. Well, the poor gal next to him, she was trying to creep as far as she could over to the left side of her seat because now he was
spilling.
He was spilling into her seat. He was trespassing. Yeah. It's plain trespassing into the other woman's seat, and she was mortified.
Gotta have borders.
If you want to eat a lot and get fat, you have a right to do it.
Oh, he's such a snob on. But do you guys find this though on planes now, where it is just it's the
That's why
idea?
I sit in the emergency row.
The idea, well, sometimes even those aren't.
There's no emergency row anymore. That's
No.
just a way to charge you more.
Yeah,
There's no more.
How about
getting
this?
charged
No.
more for that.
I had to make flights to go to San Francisco, okay? That's a 6-hour flight, okay? What is it when you spend a lot of money for a one-way ticket to San Francisco? I'm going to buy 2 one-ways.
Hey, what are you doing? You're floating back? How are you getting
No,
home?
I'm going to buy a separate thing. I haven't figured that out yet. I'll get the one-way.
You're
Okay.
still counting Maria as a lap child?
Yeah,
at 11? Ingram's got an interesting way of booking seats. Oh, I got you a seat. Oh, really? Well, well, you're my bag. Get in the bag. I'm like in the bag now.
She goes in your bag.
Nico pops his head out of the carry-on.
Yeah, exactly.
Are we there yet?
Yeah.
She shoves. If you see
Mama,
a lady shoving peanuts into a bag, it's her.
Mama, where are the Legos?
Shut up.
Nothing suspicious going on
Mama,
here.
can I have some Cheerios? And Dima's in the other bag. Nico's in the
It's like
carry-on.
the Addams Family. Hands
Right.
are coming out of
things.
Creepy.
So no, okay. So we're going over a 6-hour flight, right? And I'm gonna select my seats. What is it now? You can't reserve your seats. All seats are taken. You have to buy premium seats. Does this happen to you? There's no seats to buy, but you pay for the seat, but then you can't reserve the seat. So you have to pay for the premium seat, which is another $110 a seat. Multiply that times 4, because I'm buying for 4, 3 kids plus me. $460 in addition to the seats that you just purchased. What is that? That is a scam. Does anyone else think that's a scam, or am I complaining? You know what I'm talking about, Raymond? Why are you nodding? That does happen all the time to me.
Well, I know.
You can't buy seats on planes.
Well, that's
you buy a
because
seat, but then they say there are no
Laura,
seats to buy.
The cheap seats have already gone, so you have to buy the premium ones. It's like when you
But
go
the
to the
premium is
theater.
a joke. There is no premium
The good
seat.
seats are gone, so the cheap seats are gone. So
But
you
it
gotta
used
buy
to
the
be
premiums down
coach.
front.
It used to be coach
Well,
and first class. Now they claim economy plus. You know what it is? Economy plus extra money.
right.
There is no
advantage.
difference, really. An inch?
The people. No, there's not even an inch. The people right behind you have paid like $40 or $50 less than you. But you get a little thing on your pillow, which is embossed
That wedges
says
your
Economy Plus.
That's
the
to
only
make
thing
you feel
get.
better. I think Economy Plus is a racket. I think it's
is.
a huge racket.
Well,
and
so
it doesn't,
is baggage fees. So is all.
and they're
these
making
extra
huge
things.
profits. And I know
course.
I know airlines. I want them to make a profit. I want them to do well. Do
They do fine.
Are any other people out there frustrated by not being able to buy a seat once you buy it? And you do all this research and like, this is the best fare, best time. You're so proud of yourself. Then you click, oh, I'm sorry, there are no seats available at this time. And then you look at blue, $110 for each seat. I find that to be just, and I know people are going to say, just stay home. Okay, thank you for that help. Just stay home. I just want to vent, and I want you to reflect back to me your frustration. Can we do that today on the show?
Yeah.
Is it just but Mike, do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
And then it's more expensive. 855-40-LAURA. And are you in favor of college students being able to carry on campus? 855-40-LAURA. As liberals are setting up fake gun stores to shame first-time gun buyers. To shame them. So this story is unbelievable, but they're clever. And these and anti-gun lobbying groups are very clever. So you think you're going in to buy a gun, but what you're going in to get is a lecture from an anti-Second Amendment person. And we'll talk about that. 855-40-LAURA. Are you frustrated with air travel? And am I exaggerating my claims that the seats are getting smaller, the people are getting bigger, and the hassle is just getting out of control? Don't go away.
Get off my plane.
I'm leaving on a jet plane.
Stay tuned for more of this special edition of The Laura Ingraham Show. Thanks to my wonderful sponsors and your support, I'm glad to say that we can provide this podcast at no cost to you at all. As a loyal listener of my program, please consider testing our sponsors because they're the ones who actually cover the cost to produce this daily show. So if you're a dog lover like I am, how about giving your dog, your best friend, a fresh, healthy, and nutritious diet? When dogs eat well, they live longer and happier lives. I'm here to tell you about NomNomNow.com, which cooks the world's best dog food. It's made fresh in the USA and delivered right to your door every week. Nom Nom Now's custom customized recipes, cook fresh in our kitchen, delivering healthy nutrition you can actually see. Switch to Nom Nom now, and your dog will have more energy, a shinier, softer coat, and a longer, better life. Nom Nom now really is the best food for your best friend. And right now you can save 50% on your first 2 orders of fresh, healthy dog food when you use my code Laura at nomnomnow.com. That's code Laura and save 50% on your first 2 orders. NOM now.com and code word LAURA.
You're listening to the best of the Laura Ingraham Show.
Airlines have been shrinking seats, so right now a seat is a mere 17 inches wide, a little bit bigger than your Subway sandwich. And then the airline's logic behind it is if they shrink your seats and make them as small as possible, there's a higher likelihood, wait for it, there's a higher likelihood that you will pay for a bigger seat in the front of the plane.
Oh my God! Well, they get more
Subway sandwich.
There you have it.
They get
sandwich.
They get more people on the plane too. Of course, they have more seats on the plane. I love how they're putting an extra seat where it used to be there were only 2 seats, and then they'll put an extra seat or an extra row of seats. They've squished in where the exit row used to be.
Yeah.
So you think, oh, I'm in the exit row. The exit row is going to be. It isn't.
No.
Because they put an extra row of seats where the where the exit row is. It's very frustrating. Yeah. 855-40-LAURA, the number here. Are you doing NCAA brackets, and did you bust your bracket? We're going to talk to Jerry Palm of CBS Sports coming up. But before we get to that, we have 2 issues on the table. Carrying concealed. Do you believe that college students, properly trained, should have the right to carry concealed? In the University of Texas, the public education system there, of higher learning, of course, colleges, universities, like University of Texas, big vote yesterday, yes, 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 they will be able to carry concealed. All the anti-gun people are crazy about this. Of course they are. And also this question about airlines and making travel less and less bearable as they're making record profits. I mean, it's working for them, I guess. People are still doing it. Kelly in Indianapolis, line 2. Kelly, you're going to help me. There's a way to pick your seats, and I'm not doing it right. Go ahead.
Well, I travel several times a month, and I travel on my own expenses, so I'm very cheap. So I buy my seat, and then I do not pick a seat. I wait to be assigned a seat when I get to the airport. Sometimes I'm with my family, and sometimes I'm with my 82-year-old father, but every single time they have put us together, and I feel like we get those premium seats because no one's picking the higher dollar seats. And they have to give you a seat in the end somewhere.
Yeah, I think I would do that if it were just myself, but when I'm with 3 kids, I don't want Nico or Maria to be stuck back in row 26 and I'm in row 11 in the premium seats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the problem when you're with 3
together.
children. And there's some people who won't put you together. I mean, it's happened to me where we sit apart, and then it's like you have to sit there while you beg people to switch with you. And yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. You just take your chances when you get to the airport. But when you have little ones, it's a little harder, because then Dimitri and Nick and Maria start hitting each other, and they'll start like taking each other's toys, and then stuff goes flying. I mean, it's just a nightmare if I'm not right there. But I get your point. Let's go to Stephen in Fontana, California, on line 3. Steve, go ahead.
Hi, Laura. Hey, I just wanted to say yes. The answer is yes, they should be able to carry concealed if they're properly trained. Secondly, I'd like to say I personally do have a concealed weapon permit. I just recently got it. I went through the training. And you know what? To have the option to defend yourself is wonderful. It is absolutely a wonderful thing. It gives you more of a sense of freedom. The left, whenever there is a perceived danger, they always fail to recognize the danger. And as you mentioned earlier, they always say they're pro-choice, but they're not pro-choice when you want to defend the United States.
Right, it's your God-given right to defend yourself. Your God-given right. Stay tuned for more of this special edition of The Laura Ingraham Show. Well, I have to say, that was probably one of my top 5 favorite songs, Don't Be Lonely, for so many years that I think now people in my car when I used to have mixtapes. Remember that? Oh gosh, mixtape. That was my old boyfriend in law school made a mixtape with "Don't Be Lonely" on it. Oh no, that was huge.
I love mixtapes.
I still have some of my mixtapes. I didn't, they still play. They still sound okay. And of course, the Bodines in studio with us. And people call them pioneers of adult alternative music. And I think it's roots rock. For me, it's rootsy.
Yeah.
A little bluesy, rootsy. And we got a lot of the boys in the studio here. And Kurt Newman, of course, lead vocals, guitar. Sam Hawksley and Eamon McLaughlin plays the fiddle. Sam plays the guitar. They're in the studio now. Their new studio album just out, I Can't Stop, just released. Wait, boys, good to see you. How are you?
Hey, it's great to be here. We're doing good.
And you were out at the Birchmere in Northern Virginia just a couple of days ago and had sold out shows. People were raving about you online. I follow you on Facebook and all this craziness, and people are going crazy. And you're still standing. I mean, when did you start in this business, Kurt?
Well, we released our first record around 1986, but I think, I probably started seriously trying to write songs and stuff more like around 1983. And, even as a kid, I was playing drums early on. It's just one of those things. I found a place that felt good in music since I was a kid, and I just kind of stayed there.
Were your parents into music? No, not at all.
Not at all. I've looked all over in my family and roots for some kind of musical connection, and I haven't found anyone. So I don't know. I don't know why.
They play music at home? Anything?
Well, nothing serious. It's not like my dad was a big Elvis fan. I think he liked Frank Sinatra. And so.
See? Okay, well, if Raymond just left, but Raymond would have been thrilled to hear that. So that clearly, Sinatra obviously is imbuing all of your music.
Right. And one time he yelled at me for not listening to Tony Bennett. So.
Well, those are you go for the classics, and and your band is different. Obviously, when I first was introduced to you, it was a different you're a different partner. Tell me about that.
Yeah. Well, like any business, you're in for 30 years or 3 decades. You go through changes and people come and go, and that's certainly happened since even after our first record, our first drummer left, and I felt like that was a big deal.
So Sam Lannis, Giannis, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Giannis, he leaves, and you get to keep the name the Bodines. I'm a lawyer too, so I'm always interested in that. How did that work out?
Well, I just wanted to keep going, when someone else quits, because they want to do something else, it doesn't mean, I guess, that you should throw away what you're doing. And so in my heart, I just wanted to keep playing this music. I wanted to keep this business going that I've worked on for so many years. And so that's what I chose to do. And I thought, you know what, I'll just try it. And I basically said that to the fans, I'm going to keep going. And if you guys like it, great. If you don't, I'll understand that too. But so far, for the last 4 years now, it's going on 4 years.
Unbelievable.
It's been great, and the fans have really embraced it and thanked me for keeping it going because, a lot of people have a lot of connections to these songs, and for them, it's great to come out and sing with us.
And people do sing the audience with you now.
They do.
Some of us like when the audience sings, and some of us prefer to let you sing. But it is. I mean, people feel like your family. You've been in their cars and their headphones and their lives for decades, and these songs mean something to them.
I think, the audience participation is really important in music. When you come out for live music, that's really what it's about, is that experience of everybody kind of uniting for a couple hours and singing together, feeling good.
What are you going to play for us first?
We thought we'd play a positive song about good things. It was released in the 90s, and this song goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sunlight fall down on the field. Sunlight fall down on me. Work all day and be all that I can be. Say I can say words only simple. Say I can say words only clear. And oh, I can feel
Your heart is beating near, yeah, yeah. And haunting love is all that I feel when you're passing by. And haunting love is all that I see. It's there in your eyes. And we say, no, 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 don't pass me over. No, 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 don't pass me by. See, I can see good things for you and I. Good things for you. And give, I can give love and attention. And give, I can give all time away. Only to one heart I can give today, yeah. And be, I can be man full of color. And be, I can be man black or white. Only to one heart I can be tonight, yeah, yeah, yeah. And haunting love is all that I feel when you're passing by. And haunting love is all that I see. It's there in your eyes. Yeah, we say no, 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 don't pass me over. No, 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 don't pass me by. See, I can see good things for you and I. Good things for you, yeah. And haunting love is all that I feel. It's there in your eyes. And we say no, 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 don't pass me over. No, 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 don't pass me by. And see, I can see good things for you and I. Yeah, good things for you. No, 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 don't pass me over. No, 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 don't pass me by. See, I can see good things for you and I. Good things for you and I. Good things for you and I. Good things for you, yeah.
You're listening to the best of the Laura Ingraham Show.
Back on the Laura Ingraham Show, 855-40-LAURA. A lot of Bodines fans in our listening audience. We're talking to Kurt Newman, who's a lead vocalist and guitarist for the Bodines. I saw your Yahoo concert that you did online. That was cool. They're doing a lot of really good things online on Yahoo.
That was a blast, yeah.
And you sounded great. And, of course, I didn't know your wife was now managing the band, or how long that's been going on. How does that work out?
It's tough. She reluctantly manages the band, you know.
Okay.
I mean, I asked her to do it when we fell out with our old manager, and thinking it would be a temporary thing. And
5 years later.
She's very smart, so she was good at it, but it's hard to have a marriage and a business manager combined. You know, it's really hard to separate the two, because when anytime you're like a family business like that, it's just always there.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, we take it a day at a time, and you do the best you can each day with it, really.
Casey Chambers, our old friend from Australia, she does that. Her husband tours with her and her father, and oh my God, it's like a traveling family show.
Well, my kids love it. They wake up and say, I need to get some room service, you know, and they want to go out and stay in a hotel, because most of them have been on the road with me since they were 3 months old, you know.
What do you listen to yourself?
I don't listen to like pop and rock when I'm at home. I listen to a lot of different music, whether it's classical or great old jazz music, Stan Getz, things like that, just my mind doesn't analyze it, it just is there and it feels good. But then my kids play a bunch of stuff, and I'll listen to that too, because I look for good songwriting in all different music, So
I just don't see like Eamon and you and Sam kind of sitting down and like just rocking out to Kanye or anything. I just don't see that.
No, we're not. I'm not a rap guy at all. That's the one thing I can't do, and it's not to say that there's anything wrong with people like it, but I can't take it. Even when my one daughter really likes it, so she'll put it on, and I'll be like, I can't hear this. I can't.
Okay, what are we gonna hear now? This is from the new album, I Can't Stop. What are we gonna hear?
There's a song. It's called "Roll with the Punches." I find the key to happiness is just rolling with the punches each day.
Keep moving. That's what I do. I'm a single mom with 3 kids. That's all I can do every day. Roll with the punches.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I was lost in the haze of yesterday, a life at 21. Eternity, wild and free, and crazy deeds were done. Staying out until the dawn, make believe we could do no wrong. I shake my head at those memories, cause they feel so far away. But I don't mind, man, it's alright, cause yesterday is gone. I feel so much stronger. A blue collar boy busting down at 21. I just roll with everything real, yeah, I know. I just roll with the punches, and baby, don't you know? We got to roll with everything real, yeah, I know. Just roll with the punches, and baby, don't let go. Woo. It was a hard line, but over time we did the best we could, making noise with broken toys when everything changed, yeah. And here and now I understand. I should've known better than to trust you, man. I shut down when I heard the news. My baby got the blues, but I don't mind, man, it's alright, cause yesterday is gone. I feel so much stronger. A blue collar boy busting out at 21. I just roll with everything real, yeah, I know. I just roll with the punches, and baby, don't you know? We got to roll with everything real, yeah, I know. We just roll with the punches, and baby, don't let go. A blue collar boy busting out at 21, yeah. You got to roll with everything real. You just roll with the punches, and baby, don't let go.
Your healthy radio addiction starts now.
Power to the people!
The Laura Ingraham Show.
Just finished cleaning up your room. Let's see that dust out with that broom. Get all that garbage out of sight. Or you don't go out Friday night. Yakety yak.
Don't talk back.
The reason I started getting my kids to do chores was because they help society. And what I mean by that is the family is the sort of the first introduction to society for a kid. and to be helpful, to know how to be a contributing member of the family. That's sort of the takeaway from chores.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What is the best age to have your kids pitch in and do chores? Assign chores. I tried that chore chart.
That's a waste.
That thing got ripped off the refrigerator within, I don't know, a day. That was gone. Chore chart. But so we don't have assigned chores yet, although I think I'm almost there. We don't have assigned chores at the Ingraham household, but they're necessary. And that means the toys that are scattered around the back lawn, so the lawn guy can run over them, as my lawn guy does. My lawn guy chops up more plastic in the back of our house. I'm talking balls, trucks, all manner of plastic hockey sticks. Those things have been chopped up by the lawn guy. And I said, Dimitri, you got to bring that stuff in. So he says, okay, Mommy. You know what happens? I assign them to go clean up the backyard. You know what they do? They end up piling everything in one big pile in the middle of the lawn. They made a big tower of toys. And I said, well, wait a second. How is that doing what I said? I said to bring everything onto the patio so they're not chopped up by the lawn guy. Oh, but we like our tower of toys. Can we leave the tower of toys there? I said, no. I want the tower of toys to be a tower of organization over on the patio. Oh, Mom, and so then they go outside, and you know what they do? They get distracted, and they're kicking a soccer ball, or they're building a fort, and I really can't, they're building a fort. I mean, am I going to
Sounds like me.
them? Am I going to begrudge them that? Yeah, when Becca says, Mike, pick up the clothes you dropped on the floor. I don't even want to think about what your bedroom looks like. I mean, do you clean up after yourself?
I do.
Oh, you do. So you're cleanly?
Yes.
But it's
most of the time.
What do you think, parents, about this? Chores make the kid. Can chores make the kid? I think it early on in their lives sets an expectation. People aren't going to run around picking up after you. And yes, this is I am repeating my mother's lines on a daily basis in my house. Okay, so I'm in the kitchen last night. Okay, so that we had salmon and some rice and some salad. And the kids had some pasta too, but we had a lot of leftovers last night. So we're finishing up. I pop up, and I can't remember what I was doing. I was doing something in the kitchen with the dogs. And Dimitri and Nico, may I be excused? Yes, you may be excused. They get up, and they walk away from the table. And I say, hello, Nico. Yes, Mama? I said, do those dishes walk over to the dishwasher? Check the cup. Does it have legs on it? And he looks at me and then looks at the cup. No, Mama, the cup doesn't have legs on it. I said, right, so you do have legs, though, right, Nico? Yes, I have legs. Then your legs must be attached to your hands and body. You need to pick up the cup and the plate, and then you need to walk the cup and the plate over to the sink.
Oh, now you lost me.
And clear the table. Because, and I'm repeating what my mother said. My mother was a waitress. You've all heard that so many times. My mother would get home and say, I'm not waitressing anymore. I'm off duty. So you pick up your plate and cup and you clean up after yourself, because guess what? Unless you're giving me a really fat tip, I'm not waiting on you. And I'll never forget that. And so I say that to my kids. This is not a restaurant. And I say that to Maria. This is not a hotel where if you drop a towel on the floor, which I don't even like them to do at a hotel. This is not a hotel. You're not going to leave your clothes on the ground and expect that Mommy is going to run around folding your clothes like you're at the Ritz-Carlton. You out of your mind? It's not happening.
Morning, Matthew. What are you doing today?
Doing my chores.
You're doing your chores? Great. What's your chore today?
Dishwasher.
You're doing such a good job. Do you like doing the dishes?
Yes, I like doing my chores.
Great. I love it. Thank you so much.
That's almost too good to be true. I'm not that child. That child was being manipulated into saying that. I don't believe that.
And the camera
That's
goes
almost
off. You
like
do those dishes.
Brown noser. But I've got to say, Nico does love cleaning. Like, he loves to be at the kitchen sink with the brush and cleaning. And you turn it into fun. We play music. We make it fun. And chores make the child.
Yes,
I really believe
yes.
it. It teaches children a sense of personal responsibility. And if you do not do your chores, guess what? We're not going to the movies. We're not having a little spending money. You're not going to be doing a play date. You're not going to be having a second dog. Oh, my gosh, do not talk about this dog. Okay, I have to get back to this dog problem. This Jimmy, first of all, he doesn't smell as good as Annie. Annie has a better smell. Jimmy smells a little funky. And we're going to have to get – now I've hired someone who's going to bathe the dog in a medicated bath. This is the money is going down – a rat hole on a second rescue dog. Now Chuck says, Laura, I've taken upon myself to discuss with the vet Jimmy's skin condition, and I think it would be well worth your while to have when the prescription medication comes in like this week. Then Kenneth at the vet will be bathing Jimmy once a week, taking that matter off your hands. And if I even go down the road of asking how much it's going to cost, Chuck will come down my throat like, well, you decided to get another dog, and you're now what you're going to think I'm going to bathe the dog for you, and like, but the idea that you're going to be letting the dog has to sit in the medicated bath for 10 minutes to help with the skin condition.
Oh, good luck with that.
Oh yeah, that's not going to happen.
10 seconds.
And Raymond has already named Jimmy Junkyard Dog. And, there's been songs about junkyard dogs. Yeah, there have been some songs. Well, he thinks Jimmy looks like a junkyard dog. And he calls Annie Hellhound because he thinks Annie looks like the devil. So now Annie and Jimmy, names of my parents. Isn't that weird? Those are my parents' names. God rest their soul. So I have 2 rescue dogs now because I was convinced to get a second dog, showing that I have no authority over my own house. And so Maria now is on her best behavior because I'm telling you, if there's one day where I hear it's too cold to walk the dogs, that dog's going to be back to the foster care where it was before. I'm telling you, I'm not going to put up with that. So she knows that this is her dog. It's her dog, and I said, I want Jimmy to be in your room. This dog does not respect my border. This dog is like an illegal immigrant, trying to cross the Rio Grande. It will find a way up on my bed in the middle of the night, and I pointed my finger, said, Jimmy, you stay on your blanket. Do not come up on my bed. Sure enough, 2 a.m, that Jimmy is on my bed, supposed to be in Maria's room, on my bed, on my shins. Annie is way off in the corner on the bottom of the bed, will not come in my territory. But that Jimmy feels the need to lay on my shins. I cannot find a space in my own bed.
Leroy Brown, the baddest man in the whole damn town. Better than old King Kong.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Meaner than the junkyard.
Well, junkyard dog. Junkyard dog. Old Jimmy Junkyard. Jimmy Junkyard. I guess it kind of rhymes.
Jim Croce.
Jimmy Junkyard. Jim Croce. Jimmy Junkyard. But this, I'm telling you, did you get that photo up on Facebook? And then Maria decides it's too cold out for the dogs this morning. They're dogs. We've had to get dog jackets for both dogs. Oh my gosh. The money we've been spending on these dogs. Jackets for they're shaking. They're shaking because if they get back on my bed, that Jimmy gets back on my bed, that Jimmy's going to Mike's house, live with that cat. Jimmy's not coming back on my bed. It will find a way up, and then it acts like it's supposed to be up there. Then you say, Jimmy, get off the bed. Doesn't like a sack
off the bed
of potatoes. I try to move that thing, and he manages to. I don't know how he does it with leverage, but he pushes himself back onto the bed as I'm lifting. He's only 47 pounds. That dog becomes 200 pounds when I try to get it off the bed. I've never seen anything like it. 855-40-LAURA. Is this dog going to win my heart, or is this going to be just a battle royale with the dog? It's a sweet dog, though. He is a sweet dog. But 2 dogs. I am questioning this. 2 dogs are better than 1. And I don't want to hear from Chris, because Chris thought this whole thing was a bad idea. He was like, I can't believe you're getting the dog. And that was kind of, I
think 2 dogs are good.
I was mad because Chris said not to get 2 dogs. And, he's probably right. But no. I'm a softie. I'm a softie,
think that
but
they're good.
But then when I get a dog, I think,
with.
What have I done with this dog? And remember I told you he kind of lunged at me when I walked into Maria's room?
Yep.
What do you think he did again last night? He was in Maria's room, and I went in there to check on Maria. Of course, he's lying on the bed, head on Maria's pillow. Maria's lying next to him, supposed to be reading. I said, Jimmy, off that bed. Roof, 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 roof. Barking at me. I am the mistress of the house, and the dog is barking at me.
You're not going to tell me what to do.
And she says, you're startling him. You're startling him like I'm the problem. I'm startling the dog.
Well, the dog barked, and Maria got upset. Common denominator is you.
I'm the problem. Obviously, I have to go in the house. It's my problem. Yes. Kathy in Kansas on chores and kids. Why don't parents stick to the chores, setting the expectation that if you're going to get special treats or special fun, that you must be a responsible member of the household at some point. And I think you can start very young, little chores, age-appropriate chores. You can start at age 5 for little chores. Kathy, go ahead.
Hello?
Hey, Kathy, go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, my biggest problem with kids doing chores is not the kids, it's the parents. I don't have children myself, and I have 4 dogs, so, we won't talk about that. But when they say things like, well, it's just so much easier if I just do it myself.
Well, yeah, it's a lot like teaching your kids to tie their shoes. Parents are very rushed. So to teach a kid to tie their shoes, you just want to light yourself on fire.
No,
it's so frustrating.
I had 2 chores when I was growing up, and I got a small allowance for it, kind of like a little paycheck, whatever you want to call it. But when the time came for 13 and 14, I wanted to start working. I said, well, I'm getting a little bit of money here. I want to make more money.
Right.
So I think the chores actually
the value of $1 too. There. The value of $1, as my mother used to say.
Yeah. I mean, my mom would always say, no, you have the rest of your life to work. Go be a kid. No, I want to go make money. And I think it's because I had to take the trash out. I had to do the dishes. I had to mow the lawn.
Well, you just learned a work ethic.
Yeah, and I think the chores did that.
Yeah, work ethic at a young age. And also that you're not to wait to be served by others. As Christians especially, we're supposed to be in service to other people. We serve other people. I mean, to be a good person, and look, we all fall down, I do, but we should be in service to other people, constantly trying to help other people be a better person, but help other people. That means don't wait for someone to serve you. Christ didn't. He washed the feet of the poorest people. He was in service to other people, constantly in service, helping. Bring the children to me. Let me help the children. This is what we're supposed to teach our kids. How do you teach that? Through different ways. Opening the door for the elderly, visiting the elderly, doing something to help mom or dad, maybe before you're asked. Arcella on line 6, the dog whisperer. Are you saying I should go talk to Cesar Milan?
Definitely. Yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
He can turn the dog around in a half hour.
He's amazing
because he teaches you that you can never teach a dog to think like you, and you have to learn to communicate your likes and dislikes to the dog. And it's amazing how you can take a rambunctious dog that'll never stay out of your bed.
Yeah.
And turn it into a wonderful, obedient friend. And he can teach 2 dogs to live together happily. He's amazing.
He is. I completely agree with you. He is. I think he came to the country illegally too, and he became an American citizen. He's ultimately an American citizen. He's an amazing. He's an amazing talent when it comes to dogs and dog training. Okay, well, I'll do my best. I'll call him. I'll call Brian Kilcommons. But this is
get them both together.
This is a DMZ. I'm putting up a border between my bed and that dog is not coming on my bed. Tonight is going to be a new I'm not letting that dog up on my bed. 855-40-LAURA. But Annie, see, it's very confusing because Annie can come on the bed. So it's a mixed message I'm sending because I like Annie. Junkyard is going to be on the pillow until like Junkyard smells better. Junkyard is on the pillow. 855-40-LAURA. Don't go away. Stay tuned for more of this special edition of The Laura Ingraham Show.
You're listening to the best of The Laura Ingraham Show.
You sure do me good. Do you good. Let me help.
All right, your kid's got to help out. This is another resolution I have, which is make the kids more responsible and teach them the value of $1, and we're working on it. It's a work in progress. Not easy. Let's go to Dave in California on line 5. It's Dave.
How you doing?
Hey, Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, I have 3 kids. I have a 5-year-old, a 8-year-old, and an 11-year-old. And they all do chores. The 11-year-old cleans the bathroom every Saturday morning. So, I mean, I think it helps them with responsibility. You know, it helps them with school. I mean, one of their chores, one of the 11-year-old's chores, is to practice his instrument. And that's something that he has to do. It gives him that foundation that there's things that have to be done.
Yeah, and the idea that someone's going to do it for you or that you can put it off, right? Most of the time I run up into this response. Yeah, I just want to finish this first. Or, yeah, can I do it after I have dessert? Or it's always that. Let me just finish. I just want to finish building my Lego. No, and no.
Procrastination.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we're up against all of it. But that's great. Your kids are about my kids' age. Let's go to Betty in Omaha, Nebraska. Betty, you've rescued 3 dogs. Okay. And what am I doing wrong?
Yes, Laura. We adopted 3 dogs 2 from Arkansas, 1 from Kentucky, all hounds. And we had more trouble in the beginning with these dogs. I'm not going to go into it, but all I want to tell you is they have all 3 turned out to be the most wonderful, wonderful dogs. The one we got from Kentucky, she's a coonhound. We almost sent her back. But she is the most intelligent. So all I just want to tell you is hang in there with Jimmy. Hang in there where Jimmy barked at you. He just was protecting your daughter.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, Cujo's going to come after me next. I mean, that's the problem. No, I hear what you're saying. Betty, you sound really cool and loving. We'll take a break. Stay tuned for more of this special edition of The Laura Ingraham Show.
Hey everybody, it's Chad Prather here, the guy that's unapologetically Southern on YouTube. Join me every Thursday for the Chad Prather Show exclusively here on Podcast One. I'm bringing armchair philosophy and observational humor to what's going on in the world. As guests help me sort it all out. Nothing is off limits on the Chad Prather Show. Again, every Thursday, it's new episodes of the Chad Prather Show right here on Podcast One. Download and listen to new episodes exclusively on PodcastOne.com, the new Podcast One app, or subscribe on Apple Podcasts.
What you're seeing is the proliferation of pornography in the culture, the accessibility to porn, and kids are inundated with this in pop culture.
Do you draw the connection between the two? You think that the sexualization of society is what's creating this?
Yes, we live in a hypersexualized culture right now, and kids can't escape from it.
I just had a conversation with my kids. I don't have time to go into all of the details of why I had to have this conversation, but I will at some future date. Suffice it to say, it involved a laptop computer and going on YouTube to do karaoke stuff. Now it sounds, oh, that's fine. Go on YouTube, do karaoke. No, it isn't actually. No, it's not. You have to ensure that computers, any type of laptop, any type of mobile device, when your kids are young, especially, even when they're not so young, you just got to be really careful. It means you have to have a common area where they use these devices. You can have as many of these barriers in place to prevent disturbing images from popping up on these screens, but those aren't foolproof either. We had a real conversation about this. It is scary. By the age of 9, most young boys who've had access to a computer have seen a pornographic image by the age of 9. And the numbers get worse and worse. Still, the biggest moneymaker on the internet is porn. by far, billions and billions of dollars. I think the last time they did a survey, I think it was like $12 billion, something like that, pornography. It's so harmless. I love the left is, oh, this is harmless. This is whatever floats your boat. Oh, really? You care about women? All these feminists, they care about women. They care about women's happiness. How about the happiness of the American psyche? Just focus on the kids, just the children. Matt Fradd joins us now. He has a book, The Porn Myth, Exposing the Reality Behind the Fantasy of Pornography. Matt, we have a family show here, so got to be careful how we talk about this, but I think that is the myth, that this is just, it's just fantasy. It's just no big deal. But we find that in the studies that have been done, especially young males, their image of intimacy can be forever warped, and getting over it through rehabilitation and counseling, they still find it difficult to have intimacy with their wife or partner, whatever, because of what they've seen. These images bombarding them day in and day out, and that's a tragedy. It's a long way of leading up to this segment, but Matt, I'd love for you to just comment on that. I know you touch on this in your book, The Porn Myth, but what about that, warping the way that men view women through these images?
Right. Thanks, Laura. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, since the advent of the internet, pornography became affordable, anonymous, and accessible in a way that it had never been before. And because of that, porn use skyrocketed, just like you were saying a moment ago. Many young boys and young girls are exposed to this stuff at an early age, in large part due to the fact that we parents give them portable X-rated movie theaters, otherwise known as cell phones, And it's really not their fault that they're being exposed to it. In part, it's perhaps our fault that we're not protecting them. But certainly, being exposed to such hardcore pornography does alter what we call a person's sexual template. And as one becomes addicted to pornography, he or she needs to watch even more shocking images or videos just to get the same level of arousal. And there has been a ton of research coming out of neurology, psychology, sociology, all of which is saying this. So this isn't a religious issue. This is just I would like to have a healthy sex life. I would like to be a healthy human being issue. And so for that reason, I'm happy to say many people, religious or not, left or right, are beginning to band together and speak out about this.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to look at the literature on this and the coverage, even in the lamestream media, as I like to call it, even, publications like the Minneapolis Red Star Tribune, which is what I call it, even they had to do a piece a couple of weeks ago about how pornography is an affliction for young men. The consumption of pornography is nearly universal among young men, and the effects are never neutral. It's always adverse. And
right,
even when I see the Star Tribune doing this, I'm like, okay, this really is a problem.
Yeah, again, this is something really we could band together on. I have many friends who would say they are, on the right politically or on the left politically, but really, in a sense, we can join together here and say, the world would be better without sexual exploitation. Marriages would be better if husbands and or wives didn't have to retreat to the bathroom to have intimate encounters with their laptops. We want a love life that's beautiful, and we don't need to let porn stand in our way. And the good news is so many people are now speaking out about this. We've really reached a tipping point in our society so that now everyone has either is struggling with pornography themselves and sees the adverse effects, or loves someone who does. And that's exciting. I mean, when Pamela Anderson speaks out against pornography, we've reached a tipping point. James Hetfield, lead singer of Metallica, is just about to narrate an anti-porn documentary. We've reached a tipping point. So as grim as it may appear, it's also an exciting time that we can educate ourselves about the beauty of sex and sexual desire, and why pornography is always just a cheap counterfeit of that can never satisfy our hearts.
There was a study, Psychology Today, the Olmsted study, found that women's concerns had more to do about porn, to do with whether consumption of porn was limited than whom it was watched with. Men tend to think that watching porn only has positive consequences. But as they reviewed these studies, you see that women whose partners watch porn regularly thought less of those partners and saw porn as more of a threat to the stability of their relationship. On the other hand, other studies have shown that young men and women alike think that sexually explicit material can help them explore their sexuality and adds, quote, spice to what they do intimately. So women we always think it's just a men's problem, but it's not just a problem for men.
No.
Women consume porn as well. I've never understood this porn thing. I've got to say, I find it so disgusting on every level. It's so depressing.
Well, it is. But I mean, when we're trying to engage with people who do engage with it, we have to try and at least sympathize with where they're coming from. And a lot of young men, they would like to be sexually excited. They are curious. And sometimes it does begin as innocently as that. But the problem is these 8-year-olds and 10-year-olds are being exposed to pornographic content that wasn't even available on the black market in the 80s and 90s. And what happens when a young person sees pornography? Well, if they haven't been told what it is, if they haven't been told what to do when they encounter it, they'll likely not tell their parents, and then it'll just sort of become this thing that they turn to regulate their emotional state. Sort of like why I binge on peanut butter M&Ms at the end of the night when my kids drive me crazy. It's like the thing we do to make myself feel better. But of course, the problem with pornography is that even though it excites, even though it gives us this sense of release, it always leads to isolation. Instead of adult entertainment, we become increasingly juvenile. So it doesn't give us what we want. It ends up giving us the opposite, really.
Let me open this up to callers. 855-40-LAURA. Have any of you either had this happen to you, whether you're in a relationship and your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend addicted to this, or I don't even know if we want to call it addiction, but affliction, and how has it affected your relationship? It's an uncomfortable topic, but necessary to discuss, I think. And it all stems from what's happened to our overall culture, Matt. My daughter wanted to get these blouses at TJ Maxx. It's inexpensive summer blouses. And they had those cutout shoulders, which are all the rage, the cutout shoulders.
Right.
She and I got into the biggest fight the other day because I said, no, and oh, wait a second, no. I mean, and I'm so brutal. I said, no. Why? It's fine. No, it's not fine. Let me tell you, what you're wearing sends a signal to everybody else watching you. And if you want to wear a bathing suit at the beach, that's appropriate, that's fine. But you're not going to walk around town in leggings and cut-out shoulder shirts, blouses. You're just not going to do that. Right. She storms off to her room, and I said, okay, I hope you're reading in there. Because there are no screens. We know that, no screens. Those are all gone. But it's all part of the culture. It's the language and the music. It's the billboards on Times Square that you have 13-year-olds who are dressed up to look like they're 25 in the billboards. All of this lends itself to the atmosphere where porn is going to be more accepted, in my view. I'll let you close out this segment.
No, I agree. I think the two feed into one another. And so I think what we have to do when we combat this is not to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but to kind of teach our children that the reason we want you to dress modestly isn't because your body is bad or dirty, but because it is so good. It's, if sex wasn't beautiful or intrinsically good, you couldn't pervert it and make it ugly. So I think always trying to untwist that lie and reclaim the original truth, that we're actually hungering for.
That's a great point. Make it a positive thing. Instead of just saying no, and no. I mean, yeah, see, maybe okay, Matt, now that I have your phone number, I'll put you on the conference call when I have these conversations in the future with my almost 12-year-old.
My kids are young, Laura, so I'll call you for expert advice.
Oh, right. Don't call me. I'm just muddling my way through, believe me. Matt, stay on hold. We have a lot of calls. 855-40-LAURA. Is this an addiction, or is that's not right to call it an addiction? Is it a disease? Alcoholism is a disease. Is this a disease, or is the culture diseased? And we're just playing the part. 855-40-LAURA. Stay tuned for more of this special edition of The Laura Ingraham Show. I got to look to the Almighty for inspiration and comfort in difficult times. I certainly do. Every day we get on our hands and knees in the Ingraham household and pray for strength, forgiveness. Let's go to Gary, Texas, line 4. We stay with Matt Fradd on the porn explosion in the United States. Gary.
Hello, hi there. Yeah, I'm from Houston. I want to get straight to the point, and this is from he's a leading psychologist in Dallas, Texas, who specializes in people who are addicted to porn. The toughest thing for young men is being rejected by a female that they like. And they'll be rejected for anything. Oh, you're too fat. You're too skinny, whatever.
Yeah, men never do that to
anyway,
women, by the way. But go ahead.
Well, listen, okay, but when men, a man with porn on the internet, a man is never, ever rejected by the female.
Yeah, they're anonymous, and they can feel, I guess, fulfilled. Those who can't watch porn. Let's go to Jeffrey, Colorado, and I want Matt to chime in on this. Jeffrey, go ahead.
Hey, Laura. I wanted to chime in, and forgive me if I sound nervous. It's a tough.
Don't be nervous. We're all extended family. Don't be nervous. We all have our issues. Believe me.
Well, thanks. I would call myself a recovering addict to pornography. I currently attend 12-step meetings at my church and have been open with it about my wife and family. And I think it's one of those things that needs to be addressed because, like you talked about, it does and it can lead to isolation and even shame. And those two are
toxic.
Are going to be catalysts for, yeah, absolutely.
Did you have any other bad behavior? Not bad. I don't want to say bad behavior. Any other negative behavior patterns that went along with the porn?
I would say no. I've never consumed alcohol or done drugs or.
Well, how about with your wife?
Smoked or
what
anything
happened
like
with your
that.
wife?
I was blessed by the Lord with an extremely understanding wife who I told her about it before we got married, and she prayed about it and got leave.
You are blessed.
Yeah, I am extremely blessed.
Well, you know something? I'm really glad you shared that story because that's inspiring to people. Matt, your final thoughts here.
Yeah, thanks so much. I just want to say congratulations on having the courage to go to a 12-step group. It takes a real man to know his weaknesses, and that says a lot about you. So congratulations. You're right. The shame, the isolation, it just sends us into a greater spiral. And what neuroscientists have been discovering, and all of this is in my book, The Porn Myth, is that when people use pornography compulsively, we see similar effects in the brain, like when someone's using chemical stimulation, erosion of the frontal lobes, which is the managerial center of the brain, a depletion in dopamine, which plays a key role in the pleasure reward centers of the brain. And because of this, we find ourselves desiring ever more perverted material. But the good news is the brain is plastic, by which I mean it rewires itself depending on our behaviors. And so even though in the beginning stages of recovery it can feel excruciatingly difficult, over time, with good accountability, good therapy, we can gain mastery over this stuff. So is
it an addiction at that level?
Well, I think what we need to do is define our terms, because certainly the term addiction can be abused, right? No. People might use the term addiction to escape culpability. But just because people use it negatively doesn't mean it's not also accurate. And so there's good reasons to think that pornography is addictive, just like gambling or other non-chemical substances.
Matt Fradd, the book The Porn Myth, is our featured selection on LauraIngraham.com and Facebook.
This has been the Best of the Laura Ingraham Show.
Thanks for listening to the Laura Ingraham Show podcast. Download new episodes every week at podcastone.com. That's podcastone.com.
Target USA. Russia
could render huge harm to this country.
North Korea's secret missile
capable of reaching the whole of the United States.
Dangerous terrorist.
DC is someplace they would like to seek an attack.
Interviews with top intelligence and national security officials. We've got you covered on Target USA,
the National Security Podcast.
Download it every Thursday. And don't forget to subscribe at podcastone.com, the new Podcast One app, and at Apple Podcast.